All right, guys, it's Esme. We're back with the Are You Good podcast, and I'm with.
Sebastian.
Dominic.
And today we're going to do a follow up episode regarding anger. Who wants to kick it off?
I would like to kick off this. So, if I can give you the definition of anger, frustration that builds up inside of you, forcing you to do things. Well, not all the time, but like frustration building up. That's what anger can be described as.
Who wants to answer? Is anger always a bad thing? Is it bad?
It can be, but not always. A lot of people have like a negative sort of reaction to other people being angry, but it's not always that. Like, I will get angry at certain things, and then my parents will be like, "Stop doing that. Why are you doing that?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, they're getting upset at me getting angry, and they think I'm being angry at them or being overreactional or whatever. And I will be like, I'm not.
And I think like anger is just like a normal emotion, right? That we can all have.
Yeah.
I think it's more talking about than how we handle anger, right? Which maybe you guys are going to talk about that a little bit here.
Yeah.
Um,
Didn't let me finish.
yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna
Sorry.
say like that, like when I'm angry like that, and I'm not lashing out at anyone, but they think I am, and being upset at them, like it's frustrating because I'm not. I'm frustrated at myself or frustrated at the thing that I'm doing, and not the people around me. I rarely ever angry at the people around me. So yeah.
Tom, do you want to say something?
I mean, is it okay if I can talk about S.C. Johnson?
Yep.
Okay, so S.C. Johnson, big place for anger. I used to get sensitive a lot. Middle brother was so mean to me. I had to go to anger management therapy. She was a very nice person. She got to know me, get to know the things I liked. And then I had a very bad episode. I won't get into too detailed, but ended up having to call my mom. Huh?
Is this hard for you to talk about?
No, it's true. I want to get out, spread the word.
That's good.
Okay, how about I think Sebastian briefly mentioned this, but more so in the sense that people perceive when you are quote unquote angry, right? But you
Yeah.
typically said that you are not angry about those around you. How do you feel when someone else expresses their anger towards you? So I think kind of going back to what you said about like when parents are upset, right? They get frustrated, they might say things or act a certain way, or your peers or teachers even. How does that make you feel, or how do you react to that? Someone taking their anger out on you.
Well, frustrated. Like people have a tendency to like mimic other people's emotions. So if you're feeling sad, I will feel sad. Like movies and shows and stuff use this a lot. Like, oh, here's a really sad scene. Here's something that is sad, and it will make you sad because you're like, oh, that's sad. Or something that's angry, you'll be like, oh, that's angry. Or like, oh, geez, because it's getting that reaction out of you that the director and writer want. But in normal everyday, the same rule applies. Yes, it's not directly like the wanted reaction. It's just something that happened. Like someone just randomly blows up with a burst of anger, and now they're, I don't know, raging, I guess. The people around them are gonna have a few reactions. One, stay away because that's dangerous. To get angry because this person's angry and now they're angry that it's happening, and so it just builds to the conflict, and then people have to stop it. The people stopping it, I've seen in a few different places, they don't do the best job. They try and get rid of the people who are afraid and then try to de-escalate the problem, but what they do is they like stand between the people who are like, hey, stop this, stop. And they need to drag one of the people away and confront the other person. Just stop the problem entirely. But yet, people tend to just have it escalate more. there needs to be a way that we figure out how to fix this problem. I feel like that was random.
What are your thoughts, Tom? No, that was a good, I think, a good explanation in the sense of what you see in different environments. And I do think that's a tricky one. Like, I think your view of like how the problem should be fixed might not be what I think or what someone else thinks. Yeah. And sometimes there's like, especially like in this environment, right? Like at the school, I have rules that I have to follow. There's certain expectations and stuff that we have to do. So it might not be perfect and it might not be what you would assume. Same thing in the community, right? Like there's police officers. There's rules for that too on how they handle situations. And I might not agree with it, and you might not agree with it, but that's their job, their rules, and that's what they have to follow. But what about you, Dom?
Great thought. I like that. I don't like when just people escalate the situation more, especially if I'm having that. I don't want people just to mock me and say, "Woo, look, angry boy." That's I don't like when just people jump in and just start trying to quote unquote deflect the situation. They're just adding more pain to it. Yes, and it makes me embarrassed to be a little angry, especially if I get that kind of reaction.
And I think, like, from you, Tom, you've kind of mentioned that, like, your biggest focus is you want people to see that you are this great, cool kid, smart, you have really good interests, you're social, all of that. And you don't want them to just take those little moments that might happen where you are upset and then just assume that that's your label.
Y-
Like you're the angry kid when that's not it.
Yes, that's my biggest fear and want to meeting people. They're gonna pick one moment of me and then they're gonna keep mentioning it, which I don't want them to keep mentioning it. It makes me kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that too. Like, there's things that we then later regret on how we acted, but now because it was such a big thing, now people associate that with you. And then it's really hard to like get that out of your head too. Personally, Tom, do you think that you handle anger well?
Kind of.
Is there something that maybe we could like help you with that maybe you have been unsure?
I'm not pretty sure how to control it. Like I can control it like good, but like I want like to actually control it like a little bit more. Cause I'll have random outbursts. That's the one thing I'm scared about.
Sorry, Sebastian, do you want to say something before?
No,
Okay.
it just seems like Dom's being overwhelmed, probably stressed, right?
Yeah, and I know this is a topic you want to talk about, so I want to make sure that we're also honoring like that, but not overwhelming you. But it does sound like you want help and finding other ways because you don't want to get to that breaking point. Have you noticed maybe like a pattern, like when you are really upset, when you feel like you're breaking down?
I'll start cursing people out, then I don't know, talking,
Yeah.
and then I'll say a few mean words that I don't want to say, then do other things that I don't want to do. That's
Yeah.
that's what I don't like.
And do you think that you like bottle up a lot of things, which then causes that big reaction?
Yes, I've been doing. Yes, this has always been a problem I've been having since SD Johnson. I keep bottling up my emotions, and then and when I'm think I'm not, and then when I think I finally control it, it just comes out.
I can definitely relate to that because I do that a lot. I bottle it all in and then eventually have like a breaking point, which probably looks different compared to you. Um, but that's definitely a hard one, I think.
Yeah. Like not knowing how to fix the problem can be frustrating and build to the anger a lot of times.
Mhm. And I think a lot of it is like difficult because of things that cause the anger. I'm not sure, Dom, like if you want to talk about that, or we can give you a second. But I know for myself, like there was a question on here that I was going to read, but I think I can tie it into what I want to say. Um, that I think it's easier for me to get angry with people that are just strangers to me, right? Because I know that I'm never going to see them again. And it's like more triggering, like especially in the community. Like why are you so dumb and you're not being kind, like just be kind, you know?
Hmm.
So that frustrates me at the school. I tend to not really show my emotion and like being angry because I care about you guys. And I think like that also, like, if I'm mad, kind of what Sebastian said earlier, then that might make you feel mad.
Mm.
And I want to avoid that. So I tend to hold in a lot throughout the day of like all the things that are going on. And then I find a space then at home of like, all right, I need to be like in a quiet or keep myself busy or sometimes, yeah, cry.
You
And
need to
then that's what I
de-stress.
do. Yeah. But it's definitely not healthy, right? To like hold it in forever.
Oh yeah.
Um, but finding like a different way that you can de-stress, I think is
Yeah, I
important.
recommend like you taking a break,
Hmm.
that you're not doing anything to just de-stress, like during the day, because keeping all of that build through the whole day and then letting it all out at the end can be really damaging, especially if you have to do that the very next day.
Yep. It's hard. And I think, I don't know if you're hearing that, John, but I think we're in the same boat in the sense of like not knowing the best solution to our anger once it's built up. Um, Sadly, that's my coping skill currently is then de-stressing at home. But like Sebastian said, I'm not honoring my feelings in the moment, which then like the next day I'm just coming in and doing it all over again.
That's I agree with that. I don't like that always happened to me. That's at Johnson. Kept doing that. And it's like I want to not do this. Like that's the biggest spirit I have with people. Not let like people just not know who I am and then when they once see me, they see me once. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's just the angry kid who gets mad all the time."
Yeah, you mentioned that already. I had a very similar experience actually. Like, yeah, I did mention it earlier in this episode, right? Me punching the kid. Yeah, I don't know. Like, for this, we tried to do a different one, but that wasn't working, so we switched to this. But I did have a similar experience where I was very troubled and angry, and there was a point where I was like, I don't like this. This is not who I'm supposed to be. This is not who I should be. And I wanted to change. I have changed. I'm a lot better about that sort of stuff now, but it can get hard at times, Dom. You just gotta keep pushing through, find a something that will help you. Stop yanking your hair out.
Do you think that you have something currently, John, that you're doing as like a coping strategy when you are angry, or is that where you don't have an idea right now?
I'm trying to do like a slideshow, like a s- Norse like Ragnarok. That's what I'm trying to do. The kind of the apocalypse in mythology. I'm trying to, and I want to learn Egyptian mythology, so then maybe I could do a presentation on them. I just like to do things.
So you try to stay busy and occupied with other things that you do enjoy and like to prevent the feeling of being angry.
Yes, yes,
Ye-
it does.
Mhm.
Takes away the pain.
Yeah, again, I can relate in that. Like, I try to keep myself busy with things that I enjoy and I like doing, but it can be hard then to then confront those feelings later. And I think that goes back to what Sebastian said of like, at some point, we have to take care of ourselves and find something to do that.
Yeah, like doing something you enjoy to just de-stress from the stressful situation is good, because then you're doing something you like and that brings joy into your life instead of the anger that was just there. But then it's sometimes hard to like move from the thing you enjoy immediately back to the stressful situation, like if it's a lunch rush at like a work or whatever, or something.
Um, So earlier you mentioned like the feeling of like embarrassment when you are angry. So it sounds like when you are angry, you would rather not get all of the attention. Um, so I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, of what it looks like maybe currently at the school. I don't know what you do at home. But I know here there's been moments that maybe you just want to be left alone. What do you think actually then helps you? What would be your best thing if I came into the situation and you're mad? What would you like me to do?
Just like pull me out of the room, and maybe I'll want to like info dump about things I want to that I'm learning, like doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about how Tom made the world and his own thing. And then I don't know, maybe no, maybe just eat something. Like I don't know, like I just want to do that.
I think again we're going back to like how you were saying earlier of like distracting yourself and doing something else to get your mind to not think about the anger. But unfortunately, I do feel like at some point you have to like own what that anger is. Like, what are we angry about? What is making you so angry?
Well, that can be hard because sometimes you're so angry that you just forget,
Yeah.
what was I angry about? What just happened?
It's been a big problem. Like I don't know why. What am I angry about? Like am I mad at my brother? Am I mad at the world? I don't know what I'm mad about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors, definitely a lot of factors. Um, and I'm not sure if I have the best answer for it,
Yeah.
honestly, because I do think it all depends on the person. Obviously, you're in a different boat and have a whole different life than I do, and
Yeah.
I'm an adult. So my anger might look differently, where maybe I have been able to like identify what causes my anger, but I also think there's sometimes where I don't know. And that is a tricky one because if I don't know, now I'm angry that I don't know. And then it just continues to cycle.
Yeah. Like anger and emotions and stuff is hard to express sometimes. Anger, I think, is one of those emotions that's extremely hard to talk about because sometimes you just don't know. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, like I feel like a lot of people think emotions are very black and white. It's like, oh, you're happy, sad, mad, whatever, those sort of things. But it's not. There's layers to it. Like you said, like the different home life and age range, that is a huge effect as well because adults should be more mature, though there are some that aren't. Um, and children can be mature, but typically they aren't. And so it's also frustrating because I feel like adults think, oh, you're a child, but I'm at this sort of age range. I'm more mature, and I feel like you should be acting more mature, even though you're a child and haven't gotten to that maturity yet. And so when people get upset, older people will expect you, I feel like older people will expect you to be more mature in the situation and not blow up. While that's not the case all the time. You never know what anyone's going through. You never know how they like experience emotions. You never know what anyone is doing. And yeah, you could imagine yourself in the other person's shoes. Um, but that doesn't work all the time.
I definitely agree with everything you're saying of like again the many factors that come into play, such as the age, gender, how we grew up.
What do I
Um,
say about gender?
sorry, I'm reading on the list here too, but in addition to what you had said, that included. Um, and even just like your culture, right? Like even the way you're raised and how anger comes into play in your
Oh yeah.
home aspect, I think is completely different. Which then is super difficult to then find these answers when people want help and need the help. Um,
Yeah, like it if you are in a household that has a member that is more violent or angry, you would gain more of those sort of things because children mimic when they're aging up, they'll mimic each other and the things they see around them and gain those different traits. Though, um, if you're in a household that is more, I guess, polite, more proper, not as violent, you would be more, I guess, well respected.
Do you want to say something, Don? Yeah, I do think that also comes into play of like the parenting style, I guess, per se, might be a good way to say it. Can also affect the way that we react to our anger and how we respond to it. Because growing up, if that's the only way you were taught or shown, then that's probably more than likely how you're going to react. Which then, as you grow older, it gets harder to change those things.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys wanna kinda address or talk about?
Dom's already talked about his frustration with people at SC Johnson thinking that he's just the angry kid. And I've mentioned that I experienced a similar situation, but I, after I punched the kid, and I got very violent, very angry. I also started watching more like YouTube content that was like not very like it had swearing in it, and the YouTubers I was watching at the time were just wild. And I don't know, it was entertaining, but it might have affected how I became, especially the swearing. Because, like I said, children mimic each other in what they see. And so, since I was seeing, oh, these people are saying these words, I don't know what these words are. I'm going to say them as well. And so, yeah, I swore like a sailor. My parents have said that I swore like a sailor. And so, yeah, it was a huge problem. I fixed my that as well. I have matured a lot, and the fact that I'm graduating next year really shows, I feel like.
That is like I'm always curious because I obviously have heard you guys swear in the past, usually when you're upset,
Yeah.
which I think sometimes is valid, right? You're angry, you're gonna say things. That's human reaction, I think.
Yeah.
Even with strangers, right? Like there's always some crazy stuff out there. But is that the only time you guys swear? Primarily now when you're
When
upset?
when I'm angry, yes, usually I will swear, but also sometimes not. Like there was one point that I think I said crap, but I wanted to say the S word. I was like, wait, no, I can't say that. And so, yeah, sometimes it will slip in there that you'll want to just put this word in when there is most likely a better word. My mom's dad, who was a police officer and actually helped take down Al Capone, which I think is very fascinating. He was a very well respected man. I never met him, but he said, my mom told me that he said that swearing makes you sound unintelligent and unrefined because you could say like something very nice, or you could just be like I could be angry at someone and be like, "Why are you doing this? This is stupid." Or I could be like, "Why the f word are you doing this? You stupid," and then just more swear words. It makes you just sound unintelligent.
Yeah, fun fact, I don't swear.
But good,
Ever, not even
good.
when I'm mad. It makes me really uncomfortable hearing myself if I ever do swear. So I tend to never do it. So like, yeah, I hear it. from like people around me,
Yeah.
but myself doing it, like, no, I think it would take a lot to get me to say something like that. And even that, I think it makes me feel weird. Like, I feel like because it's not, I grew up never swearing, and now it's just like, I think becoming my common routine of not swearing. Do you want to say something about that, Dom?
No,
Okay.
no, Dom's done. It seems like.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here shortly.
Yep.
I'm not sure, Dom, right now what best advice to give you. I think you're kind of stuck in this funk currently, but please know that like Sebastian and I'm sure more people are here for you and are able to help you.
Yeah.
Even
We.
if it is an info dump and all of that. And
Yeah.
I think as you grow up, I'm not sure, maybe Sebastian, you already felt this or been through this, but it also took me a while at certain point. You have to learn to like not care what other people are going to think about you. Um,
To do that, but that doesn't work.
and it's really hard, and letting go of those things is difficult. But like surround yourself with people like Sebastian and other people that do care about you and know that you're a great kid.
Yeah.
Um,
If you ever want to talk, you have friends who are here for you, and we don't think of you as someone mean. And before this, I said that people have a different like impression of you wherever you go. And so we don't think of you being mean, but the people at SC Johnson did. And so whoever you meet, they're not going to think you're mean unless you give off a mean impression. So just be kind, be a good version of you.
Even if I try, still gonna see it.
No, they're not dumb. They're not going to think you're mean.
all right. And I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. So we'll talk to you guys later.